Hello friends, welcome to Jojo's Azure Learning YouTube channel. Today's video we will be talking about Azure VM troubleshooting. We will see all the options that we have to troubleshoot on a VM. You deployed a VM or your VM is working for a long time and then it's a production VM, and all of a sudden what's happened is some reason there is some Windows update or something happened and we are not able to connect and nobody is able to connect to the VM. There is some issue with the networking, or there is some issue with the Windows update and it's stuck on some of the process, and then it doesn't start all the way up, and we are not able to see what's the issue. So what are the options we have to see that we can troubleshoot the Azure VM? I'll just quickly walk through all the options we have, and then we will go in the Azure portal and see one by one. Please watch till the end. This is so much useful. Okay. So these are the options we have in the Azure VM troubleshooting options. Boot diagnostic. So boot diagnostic is the option to see where it is in boot. Let's say it's not started all the way up. So there is some place it is stuck, and then we can actually see it. It will show you a screenshot of the where that window is. So that's one option. And the second option is network security group, NSG. This is where you have a VM that is having some issue with the connectivity to that port. You know that if you have a Linux VM SSH, port 22, the SSH is default running on port 22. So that's if it's blocked, that port 22 is blocked, then you cannot connect. Or somebody modify the network security group and you're not able to connect. Let's say Windows VM, it is an RDP, remote desktop protocol, right? RDP. And it doesn't able to, it's a port number 389 and you're not able to connect because there's some issue, it is blocked. Either it is blocked in NSG or in the external firewall. So either way, we want to find out, is there an issue with the network security group? How do we troubleshoot things like that? Let's say you have production VM running on IaaS, like an Internet Information Service, right? Or an Apache, it's a 443. Then you need to open a 443 port, HTTPS, right? So those kind of things you need to check. Second thing is there's an option to connection troubleshoot. So you can just give that, I am connecting from so-and-so IP to this VM IP, and is there any issue? So it will say you, oh, this NSG, this is blocked. So that's a very good option to check. And another option is SAC, Special Administration Console. So this is where you can actually see or you can troubleshoot. You can actually go to the command prompt. If it is a VMS up, there's a network connectivity issue, you can go to the command prompt in the back end, and then you can actually do some changes. You can actually navigate to the folder, or you can even rename a folder. And there is a special case scenario, I think we happened last time. There is a machine keys folder, and then it got corrupted, and then we just deleted that folder and then restarted. So it started working the RDP. So it's a one scenario. That's one of the option. There is a newest option is Windows Admin Center. Windows Admin Center is really cool. It has got all the options. Even if you have a software, if you want to install, for example, like virtual machine is not able to connect to the network, and then we can install a software called like a Connect device or Screen Connect. Is kind of a software you can install from the back end of Windows Admin Center. Once you install, you can actually connect it. And then there is an option called redeploy. So redeploy basically means that you are redeploying the VM with the same settings and everything. You are putting into a different host. Redeploy. Sometimes I have seen that there is some issue, and when you do redeploy, VM is all good. And Azure Windows Update. You will see an option when you create an Azure VM. Actually, there's an option whether to manage the manual update, or it is through Azure Orchestrator, or it is through you disable the Azure update, and then you can do it from the SCCM or Intune. So there's a option, but I think we'll see you one by one. Let's dive into these options. And okay, I just logged into the Azure portal. I logged into the Jojo's Azure Learning gmail.com, and I logged into my subscription, and then I already created a VM. So I created a VM. There is only one VM we have. It is my test tenant and test subscription. This is test-DC1. I just created that VM. You just go in there. I want to show you one cool option is auto shutdown. I think we might be familiar with that, but auto shutdown feature is basically if you enable it, let's say you are not working after hours, like let's say 4 p.m. you are going home, and then you can just shut it down. So that reduce your cost, central time, and it will send you a notification also if you want to be. If you can send a notification, you can send a notification as well. All right, and then if you save it, so until 4 p.m. Oh, this is already now it is 5 p.m. So just make it 8 p.m. now. Or okay, so this is a good way to save money. We will see another video how to save money with automation, how to save the money on the compute cost. Okay, so let's go. We have this VM test. Let's go to the boot diagnostic option, and these options you can see here on the help menu. Most of the things I have seen it is help under help section, the serial console, redeploy, reset password, all these options. Let's check the boot diagnostic. Click on the boot diagnostic. It's not configured. See that boot diagnostic is not configured for this virtual machine. Then you go to settings. See it is disabled. So that's one thing is that you have to enable the managed storage account with recommended. So that's what instead of custom, we just have the enable this one. Once you enable boot diagnostic, you will be able to troubleshoot some of the screenshot. You can actually see the screenshot. So it's enabled now. It's enabling. It's done enabling. So you go back to refresh the screen. See now screenshot of serial file log were not found in the next contact. Take some time. You can just enable. You just have to wait for a couple of minutes to show up here. But I think basically we will be able to see it here where is the screen. It will take you as kind of a screenshot. And here also there is an option to do a troubleshooting. So when you click on here, troubleshooting, you see they cannot connect to the VM and failure to connect to the using RDP port. So it gives you a guided troubleshooter. How you try resetting the VM NIC or redeploying your VM. So that's like there's two options. You can actually try to reset your VM NIC, network interface card, and redeploy your VM. I want to try resetting my NIC and redeploy my VM. So I just want to click here, continue. So you see an option, right? So there is a reset NIC. So what it does is when you click on this reset NIC, it will take you to the to a PowerShell, the command prompt window, and then it will execute a VM repair command, and then it will reset the VM. So remember, when you try to reset your primary NIC, all these settings that has associated with that NIC will go away. So you might lose if you have put it like a static IP address, or you've set some DNS servers, DNS suffixes, or default gateways, or any custom route set to that VM NIC. That will be reset to the default, and it will become DHCP assigned. So you just have to be extra careful with this one. So I'll just show you that if you click on this reset. So only thing that you just need to add, so is adding in a VM repair. I can see that the command is AZVM repair reset NIC, and it is doing a subscription as verbose. So it's doing that. It's getting it's checking whether VM is running or not, and then it is updating the VM IP configuration. It make a couple of minutes to reset. So you have the VM, it does not work, and then if you wanted to do this one, you can do it because it's anyway it's not working. The only thing that you need to go back to the settings again, the VM NIC and IP addresses, routing, and etc. But the VM should be repaired by this way. So it's take a couple of minutes to come back, and we'll see that. As you can see that the VM NIC reset is complete and all configuration has reverted. And it's completed successfully. And the reset is complete, and it is VM is in running state. That's one way to reset your primary NIC. And another way, you can see that there is a redeploy option. There's a redeploy option from here, or you can, what exactly it does is that when you redeploy a VM, Azure will shut down the VM and move the VM to a new host. So Hyper-V in the backend, the Azure infrastructure in the backend is a Hyper-V host, right? It's like a VMware ESX host. From there, you will be creating a virtual machine. So instead of deploying into one of these, like a vMotion kind of a thing in the VMware, it will move to a different host. So remember, when you do a redeploy, Azure is going to shut down the VM. So there will be a shutdown the VM. So there will be an outage, and then it will bring into a different host. And you can see here it will bring into a different host and it will start up. Either you can do it from here, redeploy, and you can click here, and that's one option here. You redeploy, cannot connect to redeploy. Okay, just click redeploy and reapply. There is a two options is there, redeploy. Let's do a redeploy. So it is actually redeploying the virtual machine. There is another option also under that's the same option. That's the same thing. We go into the help section. There is a redeploy and reapply. So here you can do redeploy, and then and you can see the status on this redeploy here on here. So it's a redeploying. So you can see the status here. So the virtual machine is successfully redeployed. I can see from here. I can click on here, and then you can see it as well. And it takes you to its status is running, and then you can see the connectivity and see whether it is working fine again. I'm going back to the diagnostic. I mean the boot diagnostic. I guess so. Again, if you go troubleshoot options, and you can see that options, there is a redeploy, and again you have an option to redeploy and reapply. Reapply is basically your virtual machine state. The operation will do the VM provisioning, and if it is a VM is in a failed state. So it's basically, let's say you deploy the virtual machine, some reason it's failed state, and then you want to do the provisioning again, rerun the provisioning, then you can do the reapply. That's another option, and you can also do a redeploy and reapply option from here as well. You can click on here, and then you get the same options, redeploy and reapply. All right, so let's go back to one other option. I wanted to show you that let's say when you create a VM, you have to give an admin password and username and password, right? Let's say you forgot the password, you don't know, you didn't save it anywhere, and then you can actually reset that password. You can reset that username if you know. If you don't know the username, you can just put a new username, local admin or something like that, or you can just put the whatever the username you have, and then you can put the password. Once you put the password, that will be your new password, and then it will be reset. So basically, you just have to give the username and password and update. So this will use the VM access extension to reset the built-in administrator account and password. And then you can be able to log in with this one. Just give an update here. So this will be updating. That's the option. Let's say when you create a VM and you provided an admin username and password, and you forgot about it, and you don't know how to log in. You don't know the password. So that is where you just have to reset this password, and you can see the status of this operation here, resetting the password. So you can see that successfully reset password operation is complete on this virtual machine. Let's go back to the next option. Next option we are going to talk about is the serial console. So the serial console, when you try to access, if you have a network connectivity issue, serial console is a good option to check. Some troubleshooting we can do from here. So click on the serial console. So once you click on it, it takes a couple of minutes and it will try to you get a prompt called SAC. SAC is called Special Administration Console. SAC stands for Special Administration Console. So SAC started and initialized. So SAC, if you look at the, these are the options we have. It's very, very limited. You can restart the VM. You can shut down the VM. You can take the crash dump. We can log and PID, dump kernel log, things like that. Not much options we have. So let's say if I think we wanted to access to the command prompt. If you go to the command prompt, you can navigate a folder, you can delete it, some folder, you can clean up the temp folder. You can do some troubleshooting once you get into the command prompt. So if we want to get into the command prompt, then you have to use the CMD command. So let's say you just type it in CMD and then press enter. So what happened is when you when you type it in CMD, a new channel has been created. And so that's called channel called CMD001. You can see here CMD001. So what we need to do is like, you want to see what of these channels available now. You can do ch-si. So you can see here, just type it in ch command. So you can see the channels available channels. So there are two channels available, channel 0 and it's a AV. AV means channel is active. V means VT-UTF emulation, whatever the emulation is. So active, and channel 0 and channel 1 is active. So CMD, channel 0 by default is the special SAC, special administration console, and then we need to go to the channel command channel. So basically you have to go ch-si, the channel we need to go to is 1. So you go in 1, and if you just press enter again, so I'll ask you. So you just want to put the username. So if it's a domain joined machine, it can give the domain. But in this case, we are not joined to a domain. You can just press enter and then you can give the password. So it is attempting to authenticate once you're there. Oh, it's authenticated. And you can see that we got the command prompt. All right. So here, if you can go many folders, and then you can, there is no path specified. You can actually troubleshoot. You can go to users, and then you can delete some folders, things like that. You can actually do some kind of a troubleshooting here. And if you can go to the options in the program files, and you can navigate through it and see we have those options available. You can go through and delete some folders. You can do some kind of a troubleshooting. So one example, one scenario, what happened is there is a folder. It's called a mission key folder. I don't remember exactly the folder name, I think. So that folder actually, because of an RDP issue, is not able to connect. There was some reason the permission to that folder is being removed. So we just removed that folder and then we recreated that folder. It says a machine keys folder. So I just Googled through it. This is the issue. I think I was looking at this one. So this is the error message we were getting it. Yeah, look at this one, right? C: program data, crypto, RSS, and machine keys. So this machine key, there is an issue with that. This machine key permission was been incorrect, and then and the security certificate was not able to issue the certificate again, and then RDP was failing. So what exactly in that scenario? When you go back to here, you can actually go hit that place, CD. You can actually paste also, right? So you can go in there. See, there is a folder name called machine keys. So exactly what we did is like we just removed this machine key folder and then restarted the VM. So when you restarted this, automatically this machine key folder will be created, and then everything was working fine, RDP and everything working fine. You can see a lot of certificates. I think in this one nothing is there, but in our scenario there are some. So that's one way to troubleshoot this issue. Okay, going back to the next option, network security group test. can see NSG is network security group test. Let's say I'm trying to connect to the RDP and it's not working. So let's say I can let's see if I can run a test, see whether it is working. So it takes a little bit time. It's checking the connectivity. So there is it will test two connection, inbound connection and outbound. Inbound connection is from outside. So this is my IP address, right? So this IP address is trying to connect to the VM. So that is inbound. Outbound is from the VM, it is going outside the internet. So 104.179. Okay, we can check the my IP address also. What is my IP.com? That is my public IP. So it will list you. So it should be 104.179. It should be the same 104.179.13.232. So you can see that 104.179.13.232. So doing a test and see it will give you, oh, it's allowed. There is no issue and there is no network security. It will allow. All right. So that's the option for troubleshooting. Let's say in case it's not allowed, RDP port is not allowed. You need to go to the networking and then you need to go to the network security group. So you can see here default RDP it's allowed 3389 and any destination to any source to any destination. So this is really not a good option to do this. So basically you may have to change this one from any source to make sure it only one IP address is selected, right? So let's say this is my IP, right? I select this IP and then I go back to this here. I will say 231, so it will not allow. So 231, 232 to my IP. So from the source, so I'm going to save it. So we'll see the difference, right? So okay, I'm saving that, updating the rule, so it's updated. So if you refresh, you can see that solely from here it is allowed. So if you go a network security group test again, what should be the output? It will fail because it's 232 my IP address. Let's see, I'm running a test again. All right, so I think it's we just did it so fast. I think it was just updating the security rule. You can see it's denied. So it's not allowed from this IP address because our rule says 232 is not allowed, only 231 is allowed. If you go back to the networking, we go back to networking, you can see that it's not allowed. 231 is allowed. So you just have to allow 232. So those kind of issues and network security you can actually troubleshoot with this network security group test. It's really cool. Updating the security rule, it takes like after update, it'll take like 2-3 minutes to get it updated. So just wait for that. It is 232 and so now it's allowed. So hope you understand all these options available. And we also had a connection troubleshoot. I think the connection troubleshoot is now classic. It's going away. So I don't think it's much privilege that to discuss that one. You can actually see connection troubleshoot classic. And this is right now you can actually create network as a connection. You can create a connection troubleshooter. Just create a connection troubleshoot name. I don't know, just maybe something meaningful. VM connection something test DC1 or something, whatever it may be, and then you can select the region in central US. Selecting, you can select central US. So next, test group. So here all kind of things you can do. Test group name, test one, and then once you collect, you can select an source. Source might be anything else with non-Azure endpoints. Or you can have these. You can just select a test configuration at destination. You can select the destination. All right, so there is a connection troubleshooter and things like that, and there is. I also wanted to discuss about the Windows Admin Center on this video as well, but I think it's almost 30 minutes video now. I think we will have a separate video about Windows Admin Center. Windows Admin Center is really cool as well, and we can also talk about some of the resource health and performance diagnostics. VM Inspector, this is also very cool. It's a self-explanatory, but things like that. And Windows Admin Center is really cool because it gives you more option to do some more troubleshooting. So under settings, you can see the Windows Admin Center. I will quickly walk you through this one, but I think we'll have a separate video. We just have to install Windows Admin Center. Once you install, we should be able to access the Windows Admin Center. So we cannot use the Windows Admin Center Windows because the VM is not running. So I think it is down. The VM is down. That's why it's not allowing. And we will have a separate video about that. And we can also see the metrics. What is the metrics like CPU, memory utilization, things like that. You can see performance diagnostic. We can see that as well. And apart from this one, you can also do a network watcher, like a troubleshooting by capturing the packets. Once you capture the packet, you can use a Wireshark to analyze it and see what is the issue. But that's not the VM issue. That's the issue with let's say we have VM running on some of the IaaS server and the backend is SQL, and there is a connectivity between the front end IaaS to the application to the backend. So or database connectivity in the backend SQL. So those kind of things we can do, packet capturing, what ports are open, things like that. But I think we will have a separate video about that. And everything else is not working. Your last solution is support and troubleshooting. That's actually opening a ticket with Microsoft. I think Microsoft opening a ticket, sometimes it's really difficult. Sometimes it takes a lot of time to get the answer. You have to send them a logs and things like that. But I think you may want to try all the other option and then you go for the support and troubleshooting option to open a ticket with Microsoft. So all right guys, thank you guys for watching. Please subscribe to the channel. We'll see you in next video. More video about Windows Admin Center, and then we'll also going to see some other cloud sync option. How can we troubleshoot cloud sync and things like that. So keep watching. Thank you.